Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode here on Donaram. We're playing Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We're on episode 5, part something, and we are still in this trial.
Now then, whoa. Will the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye, please tell the truth?
Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor.
No, I'm not.
I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you.
No. Shut up, Mr. Edgeworth. You already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony right now. And remember, you're under oath. I want to hear the truth, unless it hurts my friend. Of course, the truth.
Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Crap. Now then, your testimony, if you will. Tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Gaunt.
I love how it was a defense in a murder case, and now it's we have to get this guy.
Yeah. We're tag teaming with the prosecution, too. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. I sandwiched them because I thought it would look funny. When I found the prosecutor marshal's body, I rearranged the crime scene.
They're kebabbed.
My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Well, we know that's nonsense.
Can we throw her in jail for lying? Are you sure about this testimony? It's bogus. Your Honor, I am confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure.
But Lana!
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant is innocent. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning.
Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
But what if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
You can't hear this.
Yeah. This is no time to start second guessing myself.
The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Gant,
All right, start pressing.
All right, press everything. Because she's lying about everything.
Exactly how many years?
Ever since I was made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that'd be about 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Skye were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases.
She must have been good, coming from the same school as Mia.
Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why...
Press it.
What
But
about
think about it, Miss Skye.
Yeah.
You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail.
You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is useless.
Bang.
I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And...
Did you do so to help your sister?
Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life.
But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything.
That's not the point. She was traumatized by that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him.
Lana,
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago.
You say you did all this by yourself.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene?
It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. Already?
What?
That wasn't what the knife was holding.
Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident.
That's only a situation you dreamed was possible.
Bang.
Then the reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but it'll never change this statement.
You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark?
Something like that.
If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife.
Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle.
That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies.
All just to protect me.
So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what it all boils down to. Yes. She broke off the tip of the knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body.
You planted the tip of Dark's... What? This is ridiculous.
And you moved the body.
But why? Why would you do that?
Yeah, we know why you did it. But yeah. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. Come on, put it together.
My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others.
Why did you move the body?
We know why she moved the body, because we wanted it. It was close to the thing.
Yeah.
But why did she plant the knife?
To make it look like Dark did it.
I guess.
Move the body.
But I think to move the body, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes more sense why connecting it to Emma anyway.
When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body?
It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. I don't think she's lying there.
But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there?
The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this at all. The reason Miss Skye moved the body...
To be continued. Press that. Yeah. Pieces of the... You mean...
It was already broken? Then he couldn't have written the message.
Yeah.
In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body.
So, when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened.
No.
Yeah, that can't be right.
No.
No.
Present the jar.
Yeah. Dead, lying unconscious. The jar must have been broken during their struggle.
No.
Yeah.
No.
This is...
No. What's the matter, Emma?
That doesn't make any sense.
Apparently the jar shattered the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that.
There must be a contradiction here somewhere.
Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone.
Yeah, just present it.
Let's go
Present
ahead
the
and
jar.
we can press later if we have to, but
Yeah.
yeah. Come on, Lana.
The blood is written there, Lana. Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister.
You mean that forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered?
If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I'm compelled to bring everyone's attention to a significant contradiction within your testimony.
A contradiction in my testimony.
You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan."
That's right. You have a problem with that?
Yeah, I got a big freaking problem with that, and it's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the damn jar with the victim's blood.
Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments.
Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies, lady. Bang. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar,
It has to be intact.
it must not have been broken before he died.
Oops.
He couldn't have written him his name on the shattered jar.
Huh. Order.
Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here.
Something critical.
Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth toward which we're headed.
What?
Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well. Witness may now start telling the truth, I guess. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
Oh, present the jar on that second to last statement.
Mm-hmm.
Because because he had that one last piece in his safe.
Mm-hmm. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time.
She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Yeah. This jar is like the only thing we're showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second to last statement. Just present the jar. I'm just curious what she's going to say to it. Yeah, that one. You didn't get them all.
Because she didn't get
Because
them all.
one was...
The very large one with the angular lines
Yeah.
and the writing was in that.
Ms. Skye, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of.
What?
We found the
What?
final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe. But how?
I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it.
But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off.
She did not. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation.
Someone was there to take the piece away.
On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first
Oh,
one to show up
yeah.
on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you.
Which makes sense because he would have followed Neil.
Yeah.
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
No. Unlikely. The pieces were too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that?
Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken.
Oh, that.
There's no way a name could have been written on the shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness.
I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the facts for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
I'm working on it. No. Wait. I'm not the one on trial here.
Damon Gahn arrived at the scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called?
Fabrication of evidence.
But why would Chief Gant do that?
In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear?
What happened afterwards?
Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the chief's puppet.
Jesus, she bit her hand off. No, I did it on my own.
Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. The defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients, like me.
Val, imagine this coming from my own client.
Miss, I guess you do seem like the type who likes to twist the truth.
Come on, Judge.
Wait a minute. What if we're still smack in the middle of Gant's trap?
Something wrong?
Lana, maybe right after all.
What do you mean, right? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
Ms. Skye, please testify once more.
But
Do it. The evidence was fabricated behind your back. Then Emma's accidental killing of the prosecutor Marshall might have also been a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Miss Skye, if you will.
I can't.
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. So Gant's the one who wrote the message, is that what we're saying?
I think so.
This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there's a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. All right, witness may testify again, I guess, for final time. Actual testimony. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. Nope. Body was impaled on the armor's sword. Huh.
What if Guy was the one who killed Marshall?
Maybe.
You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
What? To me? Oh, that book.
It's a picture I took of the crime scenes I encountered. Surely you looked in the book and saw it.
I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
Okay, so we didn't investigate the book.
No, we still
Well, we
haven't
can
looked at it.
now.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please produce
I
the
don't
picture.
remember receiving any pictures
God
from
dang
Lana.
it. We
Lana
know.
said she gave it to you this morning, right?
Lana, just...
Well, I seem to remember getting something from her.
We thought that was a passive-aggressive knock against
Let's
us.
check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere.
Okay.
Let's take a look at it first.
Just shake... Yeah. We just took this as an insult.
Oh, look. Look. Toward the top. Yeah.
Oh, it's book... No.
That's gruesome.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a picture here.
Yay.
Dude, like, blood's, like, spewing out of his mouth.
Oh my. This is the actual crime scene.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no
other
yeah.
detectives saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had arranged everything.
Mr. Wright. That piece cut out from his vest. Could that be?
Oh,
it
the handprint.
is.
That's where it came from.
The cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe.
That's the handprint.
Did that have Emma's hand?
Yeah,
on it?
that had Emma's handprint
It had her
on it.
fingerprints.
That's when she pushed him,
Yeah.
and they cut it off to conceal it.
Yeah. And he kept
What's
it.
this? Yeah.
This is a handprint, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Girl.
That cloth. It had fingerprints on it.
Yours.
Whose ever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What? But those
Oh.
finger.
Yeah.
You might want to sit down.
Ooh.
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer.
Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Cross-examination. Okay, so she found the body.
Oh, he's already,
Oh, it's you.
Oh, come on now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen.
Chief Gant, I'm sorry.
What? Now you want me to make out? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
You can't. Go away.
I'm afraid it's too late for
Yeah.
that.
Or what?
You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort.
This must be that risk we were talking about earlier.
Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your neck.
God damn, Edgeworth. Good game.
So what? You think I'm worried?
You did become flames.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
That's true. Wait, you mean you had evidence all this time?
He's been hiding evidence?
Conclusive evidence. Oh,
I know I don't, but someone does.
Someone?
Anyone. So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
Is this true, Mr. Wright?
If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer.
We'll still take
We-
Gann down, though.
Yeah, we need, if you try to conceal this, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
What do I do now?
Present it.
Yeah, we just
We'll
present
talk
it.
our way through it. We always do.
It was a self-defense thing that she didn't mean to do. Like,
Yeah, it was an accident.
we're showing her, right?
Cannot show evidence.
Really? Oh,
We
well,
don't want to pin her.
Okay, I guess
But I do.
I do kind of.
All
Well,
right, all
okay,
right. I
fine.
won't
We
show
will
it then.
humor you. How would
Your
you-
Honor, I don't have any evidence.
Well, I
I
guess
can
how would
present
Gant
at
know?
this point in time.
Okay.
What? You lie.
Oh, because this catches him because he
Yeah.
knows about it.
How would he know? Chief Gant?
You opened my safe. I know you took what's inside. The conclusive evidence.
I don't know. I don't know. Check
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Shut up, Emma.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about? Chief Gant?
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest and notice anything odd about the chest area?
Looks like it's been cut out for some reason. Wait a minute.
You mean you had this in your safe?
Yeah. Well, that means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department since, like, last game.
That was the prosecution last time.
Okay, it's true.
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, righto. Bang. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
You mean you admit to it?
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her?
I knew Lana. If I made it to look like the blame lay with her sister, to what that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Skye?
Wow, Edgeworth.
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted.
When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe?
But why?
For insurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jaw fragment? I had the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go wipe the blood off all the pieces.
But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar, too?
Oh. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come on, Righto. Cough it up already. I know you have it.
Okay,
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. The moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine.
Now do we show evidence? Because there's no dancing around
show
it.
the
Okay. I don't see how delaying it further gets more
Your
information.
Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
All right, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who've actually murdered.
Show your attorney badge.
Should I?
No.
That would be funny.
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Yes, at last you finally brought it into the open.
There's a handprint on that piece of cloth.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly.
You mean?
It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence. Yet, he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is...
Emma?
Can we say Damon?
It would be funny. Take that.
Emma Skye?
What?
Uh,
They're mine?
Give them back.
I'm sorry, Emmy.
But why? Why didn't you tell me?
Ruff, 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 ruff.
Oh. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Huh. How could you? You monster. Miss Skye. You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Skye, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet. Ah, but I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposefully concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter, cat? Got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. What is that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What?
Chief Gant, you're absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. And who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was Emma Skye, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction?
Is it on the inside of the jacket?
What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is.
I'll follow. I'll bite. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict? Wait. Your
Chief
tyrannical
Gant,
reign.
your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth.
Okay.
Her drawing? Oh,
Is it?
yeah, that. It would have been
Yeah.
soaked in blood.
Yeah.
It's true. It's not. It's weird.
And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Skye took. Take a look at it.
Ah.
See where the piece of this vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his... Oh.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
But that piece of cloth... Wait. There's no blood on it.
Since Emma Skye's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No. This is
Wow.
nonsense.
Wow.
Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Are you feeling lucky, punk? Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Ms. Lana Skye? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armorer's sword.
Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it.
Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer.
Whoa! He exploded again.
It's finally all over. What?
Lana, it's not you, is it? Oh.
That was close, Righto. You almost had me. Bang. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
What do you mean, refute his allegations?
You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Okay, yeah, that's technically true, probably. But
No, because he produced it.
oh, that's
He-
right.
Not us.
We forced him to. Yeah, that's okay.
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, OG? Earlier, old Wright here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you?
Oh, yeah, he can present
Your
evidence.
Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
Ah. Point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son.
I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright?
It seems, at last, the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth?
I did not.
Nuh-uh.
I admit I refused to present it at one time. Aha! So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't. Mom said.
Yeah.
Huh? It's not that I didn't present the evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved with presenting evidence. No, Ajay, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a card. You can't really...
There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well. Let's settle this once and for all. Present your
men.
children's storybook. Earlier, you refused to present the evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, do so. Yeah, we have the children's storybook.
Yeah, really. I just happen to have a volume on evidence law.
I have
right
my
here.
kindergarten evidence law book.
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Skye's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth and nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in the book, the second rule of evidence law.
Rule number 1. no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have the approval from the police department.
Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at that time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at the picture and... Sorry, but can you recall what was that picture, when that picture presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago.
No.
He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless.
The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant.
You yourself confessed to a certain truth.
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. No.
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth.
The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you. No.
Oh, he's okay now.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ. Best. Yeah. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr and then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right.
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my chance at the truth. Please, you've got to help me.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
Go back to France.
He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
Sacre
"It's
bleu.
not too late. I am going to hand all of this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up the SL9. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I had to wipe it up. I was worried so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint? Detective Gumshoe's locker? I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it.
Then you put the body in my car.
I'm sorry. I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal?
So Edgeworth just drove down the street with a broken trunk with
You-
the body in the back.
Make a lot more than us detectives ever will.
Grr.
Leaving the prosecutor's car aside. How? How could you get Miss Skye involved in all this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker?
I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, why did you stand in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Uji.
What? What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
No. No, I'm sorry too, Damon. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Orgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry. You'll be fine. But now you have Righto here. And Worthy. And with these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. Ha.
I'm here too.
There are a few things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone.
Second, you're still going to jail as accessory to murder.
Yeah.
Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Skye, you no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Skye. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
Oh, my. What high standards you have for a rookie.
A bang.
I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Miss Skye.
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth, for playing defense. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over the past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you.
It was nothing.
Liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Edgeworth.
Stop it. I only did my job.
In light of this case, seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor? You are innocent of murder, however. The chief blackmailed you, but that's still not going to, wash away the whole accomplice thing. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Okay. Well, this trial's gone on for far too long. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, not guilty. Yay!
And Gumshoe's throwing the confetti.
I think Phoenix Wright's officially an ace attorney now that he
Yeah.
rid the whole city of corruption.
We've gone through a lot of growth.
Yeah, well, he's, it's like fighter pilots. You shoot down 5 people, you get 5 people declared not guilty,
Yes.
and
You
other
get
people
claimed
declared
an
guilty.
ace,
And so, yeah. That is all. Court's adjourned. Go away.
God, they were in there a long time.
God, that's 3 minutes of overtime.
At long last, it's finally over.
Time and a half for those 3 minutes.
Emma,
Oh, buck up.
why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now after the trial ended,
You remember when I said that? I said it. Yeah, you can read, can't you? And I also thanked Edgeworth. I'd like to thank the Academy.
You're blushing.
Yeah. Like to thank the photographer for doing classy black and white during during the sequence. Everyone's done well. Thank you from Capcom for playing.
I did my best too. But Lana didn't say a single word to me.
Oh, it's true. I hope I'm not interrupting, pal. I just got thanked by Lana Skye. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later.
Oh. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. You're not a detective. Are you a detective? I've seen happier people at funerals. You said that.
It's like exactly the same scene as
Hey,
that.
lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Oh, yeah. No. Not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Like this. I found her.
It's a cardboard cutout.
Lana!
Should you be doing this?
Well,
Oh.
should you? She's still under arrest, you know.
Well, I won't tell if you won't.
I thought he was fired.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
We're going to have to kill those 2 guards.
Although the guy who fired him's now going to jail, so maybe it doesn't count.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it.
That day 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis.
I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I can make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you were only doing it for me.
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. Hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Sis.
I'm such a fool. Took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy.
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
You want to build a snowman? Oh, Emma. Emma. Come on, let's go and play.
No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a brighter future.
That was beautiful, pal.
At least that's what I've felt watching those 2 sisters make up.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
Edgeworth?
Stop hiding and come over here.
Where was he hiding?
I just came to say, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Well, I'll be going now.
Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you.
It's too late for me.
Bang.
No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gaunt was right.
You despise criminals, I can feel it. You and me were the same. One day you'll understand, oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
He's going to become a superhero now? I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now.
But Edgeworth,
Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gaunt did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on it as a prosecutor.
Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither
yeah.
Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own.
Okay, it's been a minute, but we can...
Was it the jar?
Well, I don't think it was a jar, because we found that.
I still
on
don't
our own.
understand why there was a rubber glove in the SL9 incident, but that's another thing.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I guess the evidence list.
Oh, yeah, he had the other half.
Oh, yeah.
He had specifically the drawing of the blue badger.
That's the picture I drew.
Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore him as a picture.
That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth,
I'm going to become a cowboy.
if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember. You can let what happened. You can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can make it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you, champ.
I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem.
Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court.
Farewell.
I'd better be going too.
Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon.
Seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you.
Science investigation for kids? Is that what that is?
Yep.
Wow.
Scientific investigation!
It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well.
Thanks, sis, I will.
And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun.
To live.
And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own.
Hey, bye, pal.
A journey to rediscover myself.
Well, don't go trekking off yet, pal.
Huh? What is it, Detective?
There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this, and,
But
I thought you said it was okay.
yeah, well, maybe okay with me. The folks at the prison are a different story.
What?
Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to get her out of here for 30 minutes.
Jesus Christ, Gumshoe.
How much money do you have? Believe me, it wasn't cheap. So I'm going to need some,
Way to go, Detective. I didn't know you had a wild side.
Oh, honey. Yeah, well, you see, I need some cheddar. Mr. Wright here's the one who'll be footing the bill.
Huh? What?
What, you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding, pal.
I've only done 5 cases my entire career, Gumshoe. We don't have any
I
money.
mean, Edgeworth's right there. As is Skye, to be honest.
God.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
I guess we are the best.
Why is it I suddenly feel like I want to scream?
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? We'll all be party to this bribery.
That's a great idea to all commit bribery.
Yay!
Come on, guys. Let's go.
And then we'll all kill somebody and hide it.
And with that, that is the end of episode 5
Ooh-wee.
on Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Thanks for...
Oh, it's not done
Oh,
yet.
it's
Hey.
not done.
I arranged, hope you'll please study under a top coroner in Europe. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days as a prosecutor, but, I'll manage to find my way back into the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma.
Well, I wonder how long the credits are going to...
I don't know. It's credits to Electric Boogaloo,
Yeah.
so you don't know.
Are these... Is this just... No, we're going to scroll through all the characters, aren't we?
Yikes! I thought I was a goner for a minute. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation. If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what they said. Just goes to show you can't shake me off that easily. The unshaken detective. Right? No fingerprints. No fingerprints. No fingerprints.
These are terrible prints.
Yeah, not lifting any prints off the art. Or Kuta.
They tell a story, though.
Ukamachi. Takanori. Hey, it's you! My mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? They didn't take Billy away. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show him, though. Someday I'm going to be a detective. Isn't that just great? Yes, sir. I could be just like that Dick Gumshoe.
Not if he keeps beating his crotch the way he does.
Oh, I need to keep my voice high. The Blue Badger.
I'm still disappointed the handprint on the guy didn't matter.
Yeah, Blue Badger's handprint was a big blue herring.
Or the broken head. Like,
I want it to talk.
Anyway, I thought I'd hit Europe for a while.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to take a break.
Fumiyaki Sato.
Ashira Makata.
Hey, why am I oh, yeah, that's right. What is it? Can't you see I'm having Miss Star arrange to sneak this in to me? She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, you even gave Bambina back her sister. You make sure Billy and the gang got their water? Yeah, a lot of people went to prison.
Yeah, pretty much everybody. And we should have too, to be honest.
Yeah.
Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layers always like victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. Hot cellar it is. Just make sure not to eat it backwards.
Ben Judd.
Thank you for localizing it, Ben.
And Brandon Gay. And Kaori. Thank you. Hey, it's me. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, said he's been doing or something. I don't know for how many years. Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get through. Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go.
So Phoenix quit being a lawyer?
Maybe he went to go become a spirit medium as well.
Well, he
that
might have
makes
just been
sense.
taking some time off. He just said he needed to find himself.
Yeah. Might go to a mountain, find Maya. Hey, can you bring back Mia for a little bit? I need to talk. Hey, it's you. Nothing soothes my soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objections. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya. Afternoon training's about to begin. Well, see you around, Nick.
So there's actually like a full school of
Oh,
spirit.
yeah,
mediums.
like they're training an army in the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was just like a family.
It's common
deal.
knowledge
Yeah.
that in the Himalayas, that's where you go to like learn kung fu and to
Yeah, it's
become something.
where
beyond
Rambo
this flesh
went.
prison we live in.
okay. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. Hey,
I don't even remember who did
it was
the
Luke, I
double.
think.
I don't remember either.
What's going on?
He's just confused as to why you're there.
Wait, why am I here?
Why are you
I
here?
should be at Murder Manor. Yes, the bellhop who signed the affidavit.
Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be all right. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book.
Her pen's still
Oh, we have
closing.
to examine it because there's probably a picture or a doodle. Yeah, there's a
Mhm.
picture,
Mhm.
just like last time.
Oh, she left her a note.
And some money, probably. Nope. Oh,
We don't even get to see the picture?
Nope.
Oh, okay, there it
there
is. It's a very military uniform
Yeah.
for a police detective.
Thank you,
Ah,
Capcom.
and
I'm
she-
betting that's got to be the
Yeah,
end.
that's probably
Yeah,
it.
and
Alright.
you as Mega Man X.
Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us, and tune in for our next LP.
Whatever that may be.
Thank you for watching.
See you guys.